The Iconian War is coming to a close, whether we like the outcome or not. The Iconians have wrecked the Alliance fleet, forcing most of Starfleet to fall back to defensive centres around the quadrants, such as Earth and hidden outposts, and the Kiana systems temporarily displaced Krenim base. We tried the Krenim weapon as intended, and to change history to avoid the war or delay it, and the results were just as disastrous, with the Romulans being completely assimilated by the Borg. What is apparent is that the Herald forces are closing in on Earth, and the Alliance is mobilising to meet them. Captain Sean of the Enterprise privately reflects on the upcoming conflict in Tales of War 21, where he's fairly certain that this may be the last battle the Federation ever wages, and laments the toll that constant warfare is taking on the soul of Starfleet. Overall, the mood is grim.
One way or another, the war ends today. The Iconians are massing for a final push towards the key worlds of the Alliance. We are gathering any remaining forces to mount a defense. And perhaps, if we are fortunate, we will be able to turn back time.
Gagran's words are cryptic, as we still have the Krenim weapon, but we no longer have the time, ironically, to plot a perfect outcome for our manipulations. The only way to discern his meaning will be to join the final briefing of the Alliance at Kiana.
You are cleared for docking.
We board the now familiar Krenim station and look to meet with the other captains to learn what our final plans will be. Clearly there's something afoot, but we're unsure as to what exactly it is. The first person we meet is Captain Corin, Worf's adopted daughter and commander of the IKS Bortesque.
The High Command is still intact, and Kronos remains unconquered. Even so, this war cannot be won if we lose Earth. The Bortesque will fight until she can fight no more, as will I. If this is to be our end, then I will meet it with blade in hand and blood in my teeth. I can ask for no greater honor than to fight beside an ally who has shown this courage time and again.
Next up, we spy Captain Sean of the Enterprise.
Glad you're here. We've been fighting non-stop and it feels like we're barely making a dent. Command says we're preparing for our last chance. I hope they have an ace up their sleeve, because I can't see a way to defeat the Iconians in a straight military battle. Whatever happens, just remember that you'll always have the Enterprise at your side.
And finally, as Sean leaves to attend the briefing, we spy Commander Jarok of the Lisette.
All these years of pain and strife, and it comes to this? I cannot believe that this is how we will end. Our suffering, our struggles cannot be rendered so meaningless. You know what we have been through. This bitter taste, this grief that washes over me, cannot be the last thing that I feel. We will rise again from this. We must.
Temet chimes in that everyone seems determined to see things through, but doubtful of success. Yeah, this does all very feel kind of final standish, doesn't it?
We have defeated one Iconian, but the cost to do so was too high. The Iconian forces are too numerous for us to sustain such a strategy. We have been forced to our last resort. The Krenim Timeship has been modified, and we can use it to generate a portal to send us back to the ancient time of Iconia. Once there, we must prevent any Iconians from escaping the destruction of their home world. If necessary, we must kill the remaining Iconians ourselves.
I'm sorry, that sounds horribly like ensuring genocide. Look, we make sure the Iconians remain a story, I get it, but last time we tried time travel, it didn't go too well.
We presumably failed at temporal incursion, changing things in the past while remaining in a bubble of temporally shielded current time. This allows the timeline to unfold as it will, almost randomly. My team and I have been working on an alternative method that will actually send someone back in time to the past, where they can directly affect the timeline and help to guide it along the desired path. We've been running some basic scenarios that leave us quite hopeful that we can aid in the original attacks on ancient Iconia to ensure there are no survivors for us to deal with in the present.
There is a lot that could go wrong with this plan, and I'll say it again, we'll be aiding in the genocide of an entire species on the hope that it saves countless millions. Although if we get this right, our history may be mostly unchanged.
We cannot sustain this war. The Iconians will destroy or conquer every species in the galaxy if we do not stop them now. There is no guarantee that this plan will work, but if we do not try, we will certainly lose everything. Our long-range sensors have detected signs of transit from the Iconian spheres. The Iconians must be preparing their heralds for another large-scale invasion. We are gathering our remaining forces to make our stand. The Iconians have picked our next battlefield, and it is the Sol system. If Earth falls, we have lost this war. We have one move left to us, and it is to move this war to a battlefield of our own design. We will attack the Iconians in the past. We've identified that the Iconians were forced from their homeworld in an attack 200,000 years ago. We will take part in that attack and ensure there are no survivors to fight us in the present. Noy's team is busy reconfiguring the timeship. There are no guarantees, even with time travel on our side. We must hold out long enough for a ship to pass through a temporal portal. That means fighting this fight and every other until this technology is complete.
Captain, this goes against everything we stand for. Everything we've been fighting for.
You talk of honor and duty and freedom. All of these will just be words if we fail. We can try to live up to these ideals when we survive.
Well, tensions are a little high. I think Hagrid should probably put down the plasma rifle. This whole situation reeks, and I don't see a perfect outcome. But it makes a sort of logical dark sense. We return to the Armiger and join the fleet.
You are cleared for departure. Good luck.
Through the Dyson Sphere, the journey is brief to the solar system, and we find it in chaos.
I've gotten word from Noy. They've completed their modifications, and the Krenim Timeship is on its way. We must hold off the heralds long enough for the Krenim ship to arrive and generate a portal. Once the portal is open, we will go back in time to ancient Iconia and try to change history. But first, we must survive long enough to do so.
Well, we're late to the party. Where can we best shore up defenses?
Enterprise here. We've intercepted a group of heralds. Can you give us a hand with them?
Acknowledged, Enterprise. We're on our way.
This is the USS Hood. Our attack group is taking heavy losses.
RRW Vivetrix responded to your call for assistance, Hood.
So this is it. The war has finally reached the heart of the Federation. The system is already under a lot of pressure. It looks as if the Iconian front is mostly on the lunar side of Earth, and they've clearly already done some significant damage to the infrastructure of our solar system defences. ESD has multiple hull breaches and is venting atmosphere. We can even see inside the spacious main hangar through the blown out walls. However, it has endured worse at the hands of the Species 8472 a year prior. In its early days yet though. We form up on the Enterprise to act as reinforcements, moving from one hotspot to the next. The goal here isn't to beat back the Iconians, merely just to hold them off long enough for the timeship to arrive. To this end, we act as support for the other vessels, bringing down Iconian gates and dropping the smaller Herald ships when we can. The Odyssey-class Enterprise takes a beating, but as the most advanced ship of the fleet, she weathers the storm. She even engages saucer separation as the primary hull releases the saucer section and the two become fully independent ships. Shame the Armiger's functionality in that regard has been damaged early on in the war and not repaired just yet. Yes, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a separate module that I don't actually own. Even as we take down Heralds with our combined firepower, more gates simply open up on top of us and deposit enemy reinforcements to continue the fray. Captain Sean is right. In a simple hit-for-hit slugging match, they have the numbers to outlast our defences. We deploy our old trick of burning impulse to grant us speed for a time, while dumping the dried plasma down the intakes of the Herald vessels to slow their engines to a crawl. Anything can stack the odds in our favour.
Shipment range. This is the USS Cleveland. We're losing reactor containment. We need immediate assistance.
Enterprise can hold the line. Help get those ships back into the fight.
Magnetic fields are failing. All hands, abandon ship.
Damn. At least we can recover these escape pods.
Kurland here.
Kurland. He's always there for us. Although it sounds like the Defiant's comms have just failed. His last location was the SF shipyard near the space dock, so I guess that's our next location to assist.
Jupiter Station is reporting Herald ships are moving in some kind of massive infrastructure, requesting immediate assistance.
IKS Varanus, changing course to Jupiter Station.
A reminder there that this conflict is all across the Sol system. Every Starfleet outpost is being besieged. We move in to assist the Defiant, which is still flying despite the damage. It's a tough little ship. One bolt-in raider catches our attention as it swims too close to us for comfort, and we hit it with everything we've got. The opportunistic enemy vessel then beats a hasty retreat, opening a gate through which it tries to slip away. Firing through after it, an explosion from the hole in space confirmed that it was too slow to escape, and we nailed our mark.
Are losing integrity. We need someone on damage control, or we may lose them before the ships and dock can mobilize.
Well, fortunately our actions have us right below the space frames, and we're able to shore them up with some tractor beams and a transfer of power.
Akagi here. We've restored main power. Thanks for keeping the gantries intact. Bringing the fighting 99th Attack Wing into battle now.
This is ESD control. We're losing life support and transporters are offline.
We're evacuating the crew.
While we and the 99th Attack Wing engage more vessels seeking to take down our dockyard, Captain Nog of the Chimera sets about evacuating ESD.
Chimera, all non-essential personnel are away.
Temet notices that our response to reinforce the dockyards in ESD has opened up an exposed flank where we first entered the system. This is where the timeship will arrive, so we need to secure that area of combat immediately. The Defiant, the Chimera, the Enterprise, the Chichen Itza, the IKS Amwil, and the RRW Simis and the Armiger all move to aid the lone Krenim Manusui in bolstering that flank. And just in time too, as the Iconians have noticed the opening, and as we arrive, more Heralds gate in. We charge through the debris of the former vessels that held this line, the wreckage of Odyssey-class vessels foretelling our fate should we fail here. Things begin to stack heavily against us though, as the Iconians have found a hole and they're leaning everything on it to break us as a dreadnought arrives. But then we detect further signatures bearing down on our location at high warp. Wait, the Iconians don't need high warp.
I told you I'd be back, and this time I brought friends.
brought together forces from every quadrant of the galaxy. The Iconians have done the impossible. United us.
I hope you're happy to see me. It doesn't look like things have been going too well so far. I left because I needed to find allies for this war. Ones who you couldn't or wouldn't talk to. The Dominion understands the Iconian threat, and they are quite eager to protect their stake in this galaxy.
You recruited the Dominion? Well, they've been ignoring us. You know what? It doesn't matter. Your timing is impeccable. We're hardly going to say no right now.
The Herald ships are regrouping. We should use this respite to our advantage. Form up at the KIS Anorax. We must protect it long enough for it to activate a time portal. Once the portal is stabilized, we can use it to go back to Iconia's past, and hopefully undo this war before it starts.
And you're sure this is our only option? To be fair, I've not seen anything else present itself.
Our situation is desperate. If we fail here, Earth will fall, and Kronos won't have much hope of standing without it.
Alright then, I believe you're going back, as am I, so I guess I'll see you yesterday.
I am arriving with the timeship. We must protect it until the portal is stable.
So, this plan to send a small team back, I can see the benefit. With a person there, they can help steer the outcome, unlike the weapon's original purpose, which was to fire and forget. By ensuring the elimination of the Iconians in the distant past, the galaxy will still follow the myths of Iconia and proceed more or less as it did before. It's just our prodding will not draw the attention of the demons of air and darkness.
Keep the Iconians off of us. Temporal coordinates have been identified.
Those Herald ships are getting uncomfortably close to the timeship.
We're halfway there, creating a bridge across space-time.
Then some ingenious captain comes up with a great use for tractor beams, forcing the giant ship away from the Krenim vessel.
Just a little bit longer, stabilizing the temporal portal so a ship can travel through it. That's it. The portal is active and stable. Enter it now.
As the Krenim Timeship punches a hole in space-time 200,000 years long, the Heralds descend upon our small fleet as we try to hold out against them. The Armiger takes a battering of torpedoes, flares and anti-proton beams, and with our systems buckling, we turn for the portal.
Energizing temporal emitters. The time portal is open and stable.
Go! Get through that portal!
Setting a course now.
The Heralds are firing on the portal!
The portal is destabilizing. Hurry!
More gateways! An Iconian flagship is moving in!
This is the moment of your extinction.
Not today. Everyone, form up and cover our six.
Theirs not to make reply. Theirs not to reason why. Theirs but to do and die. Into the Valley of Death rode the 600.
Evaluating astrometrics. Confirmed. We have traveled back approximately 200,000 years. Only our two ships made it through.
There are no signs of Captain Cogran or his ship. We will have to continue the mission without him.
So, the third Battle of Sol comes to a close. and I think it does not go well for the Feder, for the Alliance. But they gave everything to give us this chance to put a handful of agents from Starfleet, a warrior crew from the KDF, a disgraced Romulan Empress, and an unknown wildcard of Dominion soldiers back on Iconian soil 200 millennia before their time. Our only hope now is to avert the war before it happens, changing time from at least the Romulan supernova onwards by ensuring not a single Iconian or Herald walks away from this day. This day when the Iconians should have died. Whew, okay, I'd convinced myself that this needs to happen. On paper, it makes sense. But to be the ones here, knowing what we're about to do, it's going to be tricky. But that will have to be for the next part of a particularly lore-heavy episode of the Star Trek Online story series, as we delve deep into the Iconians' culture, history, and look for a way to end it all. Thank you for watching this series so far, and sorry about having to break these chapters up into shorter videos. It's just that there is a lot going on in every single mission, and this was about 50 minutes of footage condensed down to 20, with about an hour at least still to go. And why not? This is the climax of Star Trek Online's Iconian saga, and it's been brewing since the start of the game, and I want to flesh it out as much as I can. So, thank you again for watching this story series. I've been Rick, and I hope to see you next time. And don't worry, Star Trek Online still has plenty of left after the Iconian War ends. So, until then, goodbye.